Hey everybody, it's Leero from Leero Gaming, and today we have another video for you covering information on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and today we're talking about melee weapons, enchantments, and more. So if you're interested in checking out all this information and you like to see more of it, please make sure to drop a like, and if you have questions or have particular requests on what kind of coverage you want me to do for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, please let me know in the comments below. That being said, let's go take a look at everything we learned about melee weapons, enchantments, and more when it comes to weapons in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Let's go. So Borderlands has always been known as the looter shooter that's all about guns, millions and billions and cajillions of guns. But now, for the first time ever, we're going to have a similar level of complexity and stats and randomness when it comes to melee weapons. So not to be confused with melee attacks. So in this Borderlands, you could play certain characters that would have kind of, they would use a weapon, like a sword, for example, as part of your melee attack as opposed to just like a punch or something like that. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about straight up gear and drops that are you're gonna find in the game, and it's gonna be modular in the same way that guns are. And this is really, really gonna be awesome because it's going to give you a variety of options. The first thing to note is that there are gonna be 4 categories. So we're talking about two-handed blades, we're going to have swords, we're going to have axes, and blunt weapons. And they made examples of hammers and morning stars. And we will take a look at some of the pictures that IGN had shared in just a second. So we're talking about dozens of different options for weapons, and that's huge. So now, not only are you going to have customizations when it comes to your guns, but you're also going to get it with your melee weapons as well. Now, they shared with us how this is going to work. So, for example, under the swords categories, you're going to have mods on the hilt as well as the blade. So, they're saying here, hilt mods offer bonuses to your character while you have the sword equipped. And an example they gave, as Hawkins shared, was a mod to gather ammo during melee attacks. So, while you're dealing close range damage, you can also replenish your munitions. So this is big, especially I could imagine during like boss fights. I remember some of the older Borderlands, unless you had a build that would replenish ammo automatically, you could theoretically run out of ammo and get in big trouble in the middle of a big battle. So this could be really, really cool. Now they're saying that not only are mods going to have stat modifications, but they're going to look cooler. So we're talking about unique looks depending on the modifications, which is pretty darn cool. So it's going to give you just a lot of options when it comes to choosing your melee weapons that will be optimal for your build. They also mentioned that outside of the two-handed blades, which I'm guessing going to be kind of slower in attacks, other weapons have this glide to their attack. So you're going to be able to kind of close the distance on enemies, which is pretty cool. Now, I'm not sure why they wouldn't have like a big old two-handed sword. You'd think be able to use the momentum of the sword to swing in, but you know, I digress. Maybe they're just going to have a big old cleave attack with the two-handed weapon. But, you know, that's we'll have to see once they show us footage of the different weapons. Now, they also confirmed that just like guns, the different melee weapons will have the ability to have fire various elemental damage. So if the current characters are anything like our previous characters, certain classes are going to have bonuses to different elements. So maybe one will give a bunch of bonuses to your fire damage. So you'd want to sync up obviously a melee weapon of elemental damage with your melee or elemental fire damage guns. So I can see a lot of different synergies coming up here. Now, melee weapons will have legendary tier weapons just like the guns in previous Borderlands games. And there's something very interesting thing they said here. So they mentioned that there are enchantments which affect different levels of rarity. So I'm not sure if they're not being really clear here, because they're saying as far as other rarity levels, the Wonderlands team didn't say, but they did tell me there are enchantments which affect different levels of rarity. I wonder if this means you put enchantments on your gear and it increases the chances of certain types of gear to drop, or if they're talking about there's going to be like legendary drops that are enchantments that you can put on existing weapons to make them even more powerful. So I'm guessing this has been created to create that extra long tail on the loot system. By that I mean it just gives you more and more things to hunt in order to get that perfect gun or perfect melee weapon, and then on top of it find that perfect enchantment for that min-maxing, which is going to keep us very, very busy for a very long time. Definitely looking forward to hearing more about it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the models of the different weapons that they share in this article, because they're looking really, really cool. So let's take a look at those. So we start with some of the, looks like a shotgun with a machete on the front. Here's the same gun with a different look. Couple different double barrel shotguns, look like some sort of alchemical power. Side view of that same shotgun. We got a crossbow because of course. This reminds me of the crossbow from Breaking Bad, actually. Very, very cool. And we're going to be looking at, and here's like a little hand crossbow. That's pretty sweet too. Wonder if we could wield those. And in a second, oh, here we go. Big ass mace. Yeah, no question about it. Oh, did I just see? There we go. Ooh, check that out. Scythe. So that'd be kind of cool for the kind of like a necromancer like character that's in the game. Very, very cool. Another variant on the crossbow. This looks more like a sniper crossbow. Very, very cool. Oh, and this is what I'm talking about. I can't really tell if this is a really sweet one-handed sword or if it's going to be a two-handed sword. Either way, very, very cool. Very paladin-esque, I would say. And here's something much more kind of barbaric and feral. Definitely like this. I think this would be a great two-hander or sword, either, whichever category it is, for the berserker. Very, very cool. And nice. Here's a very, I don't know, this is a very icy, this looks like a one-handed sword. But who knows? Knowing me, it's probably a giant two-hander. Damn, look at this sniper. This almost looks like a crossbow that opens up on the front. Either way, this is pretty bitchin'. Look at that. Woo! What is that on the bottom? Is that like a rocket launcher on the bottom? Oh yeah, that's right up my alley. Oh, that's very sick looking. And then here we go, full on high tech. So this is, I don't think this is very fantasy, but fair. Can't complain. So those are the newest screenshots of the weapons. Very, very excited for this game. Again, coming out at the end of March. Looking forward to following this. Can't wait till they start releasing the different class skill trees that we can review and play this together. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like, drop a comment below if you have any questions for me. And again, love to hear some recommendations of how you would like for me to cover this game in the future. I'll definitely be streaming it on Twitch as well, so make sure to check me out. All the information you need is in the description below. As always, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you guys next time.